Welcome to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast for Christian real estate agents, where we help you grow your business with some great marketing tips and grow your faith with some powerful, radical faith Bible teachings. I'm Beatty Carmichael, and I'm glad you joined us. Today, we're going to be talking about growing your business with some great marketing tips. But first, I'd like you to hear from one of our Agent Dominator clients.
I think I've had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've had about 5 mailings. The first mailing that went out, I had a great response. I think I had about 15 people respond. Overall, I've had 3 listings. 2 of them are about 370 and one's at 310. So with that regard, that's all good. And I have contracts on 2 of them that should be closing at the end of this month.
Learn how Agent Dominator services can help you grow your business and get more listings. Visit us at agentdominator.com. And now, let's get started on the podcast. Well, hey folks, this is Beatty Carmichael here with the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. And I wanted to introduce and kind of tee up this next podcast that you're about to listen to and watch. Okay, so this is actually a recording, a seminar that I did. It was actually a couple of years ago on the top 6 ways to get listings in a geographic farm. As I walk you through these things, I'm showing you different stuff. For my audio listeners, if you're not watching this live, then that's okay. I think you'll get probably a good 90% of value simply through the audio. But these go through the top 6 things that we've seen over time that really drive the greatest amount of results in getting listings in a geographic farm. So I think you'll get a lot out of it. And so without any further ado, let me bring it up. I want to walk through the top 6 ways. And if time allows, I've got a couple of bonus things to do to really supercharge that as well. But I want to walk through the top 6 ways to generate listings in a seller's market, in a geographic farm, in any type of list environment. But I'm going to kind of focus it on a geographic farm in a seller's market, since that's kind of where we are right now. What's interesting is the fundamentals always stay the same. Whether it's a seller's market or a balanced or a buyer's market, it's all basically the same. The tactic may change, but the fundamentals don't. And so what I hope to accomplish for you is, how do you get a consistent source of listings coming in on an ongoing basis that allows you to pull back on your hours and increase and accelerate on your income? One of my friends, one of our clients as well, when I first met him, because he did really great marketing, he was averaging about 120 transactions a year on 35 hours a week. Okay, he had kids, and he took Friday, Saturday, and Sunday completely off, and he wouldn't work weekends. I mean, he wouldn't work evenings, and so he really kind of managed his life around his real estate business, and that's what the goal of all this is. So let me real quickly share my screen. I want to walk you through this. So let me walk you through real quickly how this works, and we'll open up for questions and answers at the end through chat, unless you can speak live on this. I think the audio isn't working for everyone. But I just want to show you real quickly what is possible in generating listings, okay? One of our clients over in Los Angeles area, by his second mailing, had 3 homes listed and 6 more listings coming on the market within 3 to 6 months. He actually closed out his first 12 months earning right at $99,000 in commissions, closed commissions, directly from us, and then an extra $50,000 more with Facebook. I want to talk on that as one of our bonuses in a moment. Another client of ours, within 2 to 3 months, had already closed $3 million in sales, which is what's at right about $90,000 in commissions, and had another $3 to $5 million in inventory coming in about 3 months. We helped another agent who was she'd been in real estate for 15 or 20 years. She had her business was in the dumps. She was about to quit, totally broke. We got involved, helped her. She started doing some of the things I'm going to show you today. She'd earned $100,000 in commissions in her first 6 months, and another $100,000 in the next 6 months, and she was just blowing and going. And this stuff even works for brand new agents. one of our clients had just gotten her real estate license 3 months before she started with us. She had just moved to a new state with her new husband. Okay, so they knew no one, and then she's trying to figure out how to build her business. So it took 6 months to get her first listing, or maybe 9 months with what we were doing with her. And we perfected things a lot since then. But within 6 months of that first listing, she'd earned like $98,000. Okay, so some really cool stuff and some very proven ways to make this happen. So I want to walk through the top 6 things. The first one we believe is postcard mailings. This is especially because the best way to get listings is constant repeat touches with something that someone can get in the mail, they can look at, they can actually hold. And here's what's interesting, okay? I'm going to share that this shows up. When you get something in the mail, you go through your mail, you got all your letters, and everything's facing you. And unlike an email or an online ad, this is tangible. This is something that you actually hold in your hand, and it grabs all of your attention. And some studies have been done um, by some. I remember one in particular is one of the nation's top direct response marketing guys. Just from his personal efforts, 1 out of every 3 homes in America had purchased from him. Okay, so pretty significant. And he wanted to test the impact of snail mail versus electronic. Okay, in other words, a physical marketing piece versus an electronic marketing piece. So he wrote an ad to sell some of his training material. He pulled out his own personal database of people who'd bought from him, who wanted his stuff, and because that's really the best list you go to, the people that you already have trust, that already trust you. Okay, we're going to talk about that in getting listings. But here's what's interesting. He did what's called a split A/B test. Okay, that means he takes the same message and he sends half of his list. He mails it in a mail piece, and half of it he sends it in electronic mail. Okay, and he got the results back. And get this: the physical mail outperformed the electronic mail by 20 times. 20 times. Okay, that's why I'm such a big fan in postcards. Okay, now let's look at one other thing. Let me see if I've got, some of the stuff I just kind of off the cuff, and I don't have everything lined up to really show you, but let me see if I can pull something out real quick. All right, so here, I've got 2 mail pieces, right? I've got a postcard and I've got an envelope, okay? Imagine that this is an envelope without windows on it. It's got like my name and stuff printed on it instead of a window, okay? Here's what's also interesting. When you're mailing, this is the lowest response rate versus this. The envelope is lowest response rate because the first thing you have to do to get the envelope to respond is they have to choose to open it up to read it. They look at it and they don't want to read, they just toss it. But with a postcard, it's staring them in their face, so they will read it. 100% of everyone who's going through their mail will not only glance at your postcard, but they will read the main headings, the main bullet points of what it is. And if it holds enough interest, they'll read more. They might even flip it over to the back side, but they will read on this side, okay? So this is why this is so powerful. The other thing with postcards is it sticks around. People will hold on to, especially if it's got information of value. Like on this particular postcard, we're doing this for a special type agent. We have some content here that focuses on, in this case, let's say selling your real estate property. So then if someone's thinking about selling, but maybe it's 6 months from now, what they'll do is they'll hold on to this, hold it aside, and now that keeps you always in front of them. So postcards are really powerful. As far as your frequency, one of the things that you want to do is you want to mail frequently enough that it makes an impact, okay? And so if we're going to do this as a farming, where you're farming either a geographic list, or you're farming your personal sphere of influence and past clients list, or you're farming a home sellers list or home valuation list, or if you're farming a FSBO list or you're farming an expired list, okay? And I use the word farming because I want you to understand that farming is not simply geographic. Farming is when you take any group of people and you keep nurturing them, okay? With postcard mailings, you want to be doing a minimum of once a month, okay? Ideally about every 3 weeks, which is 18 times a year, because what that does is it keeps you in front of them frequently enough that it starts to make an impression, okay? The other thing that's also interesting is when you look at people thinking about selling, frequently they start to think about selling and then actually put their home on the market within about 2 to maybe 3 months, okay? There's some that are long-term planners, but a lot of them are very short-term. So let's say if you're mailing only 6 times a year, every 2 months, that means that they have a chance to get only one postcard from you during that period of time that they're actually go from the point of thinking about selling to calling an agent and putting their home on the market. So you got one chance to catch them. If you're mailing every month, then you've got the potentiality of 3 opportunities. At the beginning of the month, and at the end of the month, at the beginning of the next month, okay? That's the 2 months. But if you're mailing every 3 weeks, then you're going to be touching them 3 or 4, possibly even 5 times. And so it increases your likelihood of getting a deal. Now, then the second question is what do you put on the postcard? If you only do one type of postcard, the simplest type is a just sold. Send out a just sold if that's all you do, because in geographic, in farming, whether it's geographic or any other farming, what they want to know is, are you constantly selling? And if you have nothing else to put there, always put a sold. And it doesn't matter if the sold is from within that list, okay? So let's say, for example, you're farming a neighborhood of 500 homes, and you make a sale over here with another home. Well, show off that sale to this group of people, because what they want to know is, are you selling? And the more they see you with a sold coming through, then the more likely they are to do something. Now, there's a lot more stuff that you can do to increase the response rate, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But at the very minimum, you want to show off a sale every time you do it. And then the last thing with postcard mailing is you've got to get it plugged into a set it and forget it type of process. And even with your sales, okay? So you can go back and you can use sales. We do this with our clients a lot. We'll go back and have them pick out sales that they did 6 months or 12 months ago, and we promote them on the postcards as sold, okay? We put a little, great big sticker that says sold, and we tell something about it, sold in 5 days for full price. We never give the timeline because it could have been a previous sale, but the card is already set up, already ready to go. And then if they have a new sale, all we have to do is replace the cell on the card and everything else is ready to go. So you want to lock it and load it and then walk away from it. So you got to automate it. So that's the first thing to do to get listings, is constantly being there in the mail. Now the second thing is, if you have the opportunity to do this, is a Facebook community page. This is extremely powerful, because what this does is it's another way of touching people, okay? And what happens with these multiple touches, so you don't do just one of these. You try to do all of these things I'm going to walk you through and do them all at the same time. Because in math, you have 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? But when you're talking about touches, you have 1 plus 1 equals 3. It becomes synergistic. I can't explain it, but it's something very powerful that when I'm touched this direction, and then with another direction, and then with another direction, and another direction, it does something that causes me to be more receptive to doing business with you. And this is actually something that was found in the book, in the study that the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent referenced. So if you're familiar with that book, they found that those people that touch an average of 33 times a year or more, they average one sale out of every 12 contacts of their personal contacts, okay? But they made it very clear that of those 33 touches, it was a multitude of different types of touches, not just one, okay? And I think it's real important. You can't just send 33 postcards a year, okay? All right, that's why we don't do it. Send 18 a year and do a lot of other touches. So let's talk about the Facebook community page. So the Facebook community page is a Facebook page for that community. Now, if you're targeting a community of only 300 homes, you might not have a Facebook page there. But if you're targeting 1,000 homes or 1,500 or 2,000 or anything within a larger community that can create a Facebook community page, see if there's already one there. If there is, great. If there's not, build one and promote it. Because what the Facebook community page does is allows you to have ongoing access in front of all of the homeowners so that you can build up the reputation that you focus there, okay? And so I remember one of those clients that I showed you earlier up over in Los Angeles. What happened with him is he was doing postcard mailings, and he got on the Facebook community page. And at the time, he's in a farm of 1,500 homes. And at the time, there were only like 200 people on the community page. So the first thing he did is he door knocked the community, left door hangers, and promoted the Facebook community page. And instantly, it went from about 200 to 800. And then by the end of the year, it was like at 1,100 or more. Then he gets on the Facebook community page and he posts every listing 5 times, okay? This is the cool thing when you do the community page because you can really multiply what you're doing. So you don't want to overuse your welcome in a community page, right? So how can you post the same listing 5 times? So here's what he did. It's really brilliant. So the Facebook community page is all about things within the community. So at this time, you got to understand, Nelson was a nobody in terms of sales. He was just one of probably 100 different agents who were selling in that area, and he may have had one listing the year before or something like that. So he would get a listing, and he would push it out and say, coming soon. Okay, then the next post is just listed. Then the next post was open house. Then the next post was under contract. And then the final post was just sold. So he was able to take 5 bites at the apple. And what happens is most people forget the details. Okay? So when they see the coming soon, then just listed, they're not really connecting in their mind that this is the same home earlier. What they're connecting is here's another activity by the same real estate agent. Then open house. Invite your friends, okay? And if you're thinking about selling, come look at what homes are doing in the marketplace and what they're how they're fixed up, so you can learn how to do it yourself, okay? So so now every time he sends it out, it's getting another bite at the apple, and they don't necessarily connect all the dots. So now watch it. Now he's got 2 or 3 listings going on, and each one of those he's getting 5 bites at the apple, okay? So with 2 or 3 listings, he's got 10 or 15 touches going out in the community, and no one's telling him that's too much touches because it's all community related news, okay? That's the great thing about geographic farming. You can keep pushing this out, and no one else really followed that pattern. So he just clobbered in terms of the amount of times that he's in front of people through Facebook. What was the end result? It's really cool. Watch this. He goes from a nobody. In the first 12 months, he earns roughly $100,000 directly from our postcard mailings and how we identify sellers. He earns another $50,000 from the Facebook community page, okay? So $150,000 his first 12 months. And 6 months later, 18 months in, he is selling 22% of all of the listings in that entire farm. Another year and a half later, he's now selling half of all of the listings in that farm, clobbering everyone else. And it's only through this one simple thing, okay? So that's number 2 way, and it's very fast in terms of generating sales. So now let's look at the 3rd way to generate listings. And it's open houses, okay? Now I know we got shelter in place and COVID-19, all these restrictions, and open houses aren't as available as they used to be. So you have to take this in line with whatever your normal standards are. In some places, I know open houses aren't allowed. Others, they're allowed, but maybe by appointment only, okay? Work it out to get to doing an open house. And here's what happens. Most agents, when they do open houses, it's a waste of time. They promote open house, put balloons out, they sit there, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to sell the house. That's not what an open house is for, ultimately, for me, okay, from a sales standpoint. The purpose of an open house is to create a magnet for everyone in that community who's thinking about selling to come look and see what's on the market, see how it's decorated, see what's been fixed up, understand the price that they're asking and what's being offered for the price, so they can go back and do it themselves. So the whole idea of the open house is to get the community, the people thinking about selling, to come look, because then you get to meet them and now you can pick up additional listings. The average open house, when done right, should pick you up at least one, if not two listings on average. Okay, so first let me cover a couple of thoughts on if you're restricted with open houses. A lot of times the restrictions I've heard is you can only have like two people, like a husband and wife, go to the open house with a realtor by appointment only. Okay, well, I heard a great thing one realtor is doing. They have, outside of the open house, come and register for an appointment, and your appointment is immediate, okay? And so they just kind of work the system. They get an appointment immediately, and if someone's already in the house, no big deal. Just wait a couple of minutes for your appointment, and then you get to go in. So they're able to do open houses and drive the traffic through. So what you want to do is you want to do what I call circle promotion. Circle promotion is where you take that house. Let's say the house is right here on the map, okay? Here's a map. Okay, you wanted to draw a circle around that house of roughly 100 homes, and you want to promote to that 100 homes. I'm going to talk about this in multi-channel, but you can do text blast, you can do email, voicemail blast, you can pick up the phone and call, you can do an auto dialer, you can go put door hangers out. But bottom line, the promotion needs to be is to say, hey, I'm holding an open house this Saturday and Sunday right down the street. And if you know of any friends that are looking to get in this neighborhood, please tell them about the open house. And also, if you're thinking about selling your house, one of the best way to figure out how to update it, how to fix it up, what type of price, what people are looking for, is to look at homes that are on the market. So let me invite you, if you're thinking about selling, come take a look at the house, because it's a perfect opportunity just to walk in and see what's being sold out there, so you can kind of get ideas for selling your house. All right, so that's going to be the promotion. Then when people come in, I'm going to obviously meet them, and what I'm looking for are those people that are local in the neighborhood. Because if they're local in the neighborhood, they're thinking about selling, and if they're not under contract yet with an agent, I want to be the one to meet them, build the relationship, and get that. So it's a fabulous way to identify sellers. If you don't have any homes listed right now, there are other agents in your community, in your brokerage, that probably do. Ask if you can show some of their houses, do an open house for them, and then use that circle prospecting so you can pick up listings. Very, very powerful. If you want more listings, we guarantee them an Agent Dominator. Whether you're marketing to a geographic farm, past clients and sphere of influence, a niche market, or even commercial property owners, our fully customized postcards produce up to 10 times more results than standard real estate postcards. And we guarantee your listings or your money back. So visit us at agentdominator.com to learn more. And now, back to the podcast. Now, the fourth way of getting listings is what I call multi-channel touches. This goes back to the idea of 1 + 1 = 3, okay? And this is where it takes a little bit more what I call preparation work. So let's talk in terms of a geographic farm, because a lot of times, this is really easy to do if you have your personal contacts, okay? But anytime you do a geographic farm, a lot of times all you have is a name and an address. And there's some great places, like if you were to go, I think Coal Information System is a great place. Also, Prospect Now. Both of them, you can kind of like draw a circle around the neighborhood. So if this is a map, I can draw a circle around the neighborhood that I want and suck out of that all of the names, addresses, and available phone numbers and email addresses as well. Phone number and email address is worth a lot of money. Okay. Generally speaking, I know with Cole, you're getting about 70% of all the listing of all the addresses will have one or both, one or the other, and about half of them will have both of them. Okay. And then we also have a service with a data partner that if you just have a list that you can't get a name, a phone number, or an email, a lot of times we can run it through our data partner and connect the dots on a lot of those and build up your additional contacts. So here's what happens with the multi-channel approaches. You can take that list. Now that you have phone number, you have the address, you have the name, you have an email address, you can upload it to Facebook, and they'll create a custom audience specific to your farm that you're targeting, okay? And then you can run ads that constantly promote you, keep you in front of them. You can set it with Facebook to say, I want this ad to go out 4 times every month, okay? So what Facebook does is they literally force that ad into the feed. So someone's going through their Facebook and they're constantly seeing you every week, okay? So it's really super. Then you can also take the email address. You can do a drip email campaign. There's some great ones out there. We offer some for our clients. If you're interested, just let us know. But I would recommend if it's a non-personal list, probably no more than twice a month, maybe only once a month. I'd probably do a number of touches first so they get to know you before you start the campaign so they don't immediately opt out, okay? But the key with the email campaign is content that they really want to read. And here's a secret. They don't want to read anything about real estate, okay? If it's a real estate related email, they're going to delete it. So you have to come in from an angle, from a different angle that gives them something that they want, okay? And when you do that, then you win the right to constantly be in front of them. Video email blast. This is really powerful, okay? So I want to take the subject matter. Let's assume that this is a geographic farm that you're targeting. And one of the things that is about geographic farms, they don't know who you are. All they get is maybe a postcard in the mail, okay? They see your photo, and that's about it, okay? They don't know, they know what you look like, but they really don't know who you are. Think about right now. So you see me talking, you see my body language, okay? You hear my voice and my inflections, my intonation. You see me constantly drinking, okay? It's only water. and and what happens is you start to get to know me. And the more you get to know me, the more you say, I like this guy. At least hopefully that's what you say. So you do the same thing with your multi-channel touches. You get on your phone, you do a selfie video, and using a CRM, okay, you've got Top Producer, you got Lion Desk, you've got all kinds of other CRMs that have all of this automation built into it. The whole idea of multi-channel touches is all automated. So I'm going to record a minute to 2 minute video. It's going to be something that group of homeowners are probably going to be interested in, like maybe home selling stats or upcoming garage sales, you know, like a community garage sale or something like that. It's going to be something that's going to have community interest. And then I'm going to blast it out. And I'm going to try to blast one out every 6 weeks. Okay, that's about 8 times a year, plus or minus something. So now what happens is they get to watch a video of me, and that video now breaks through that ice of I don't know that person. They start to hear you, see you, start to trust you, respect you, start to feel like they can trust you and that they know you. And when that happens as one of your multiple touches, then you're more likely to pick up more listings, okay? So you do the video email blast, and then because you have their mobile number, okay, you can also do what's called a text blast and a DTV, a direct to voicemail blast, okay? Now, here's what you don't want to do. We're not putting them on a drip email, a drip text campaign. That is going to frustrate the heck out of them. You're not putting them on a direct to voicemail recorded message campaign. We're not trying to do spam. Okay, we're going to spam them, but we don't want it to come about as spam. Okay, so it's all in the messaging. Okay, so here's what we're doing. So let's say the text message goes out every 3 months, 4 times a year, and it's going to be something like this. I'm going to get a text message, and maybe Kathy Jones is the agent. Okay, I'm one of the people in the farm, and I'm gonna get a message. Uh, hey, this is Kathy Jones. I'm an agent with ABC Realty. I just sold a home on Birch Lane, and I still have a number of buyers eager to get into the neighborhood. Is there any condition in which you consider selling your home? Now that comes across as kind of a personal text, right? Okay. And with the CRMs, it may even say, Beatty, this is Kathy Jones with ABC Realty. Uh, and she's going to then use that ploy. And so now that's not it's a little bit more acceptable. I'm going to probably text back, no, but thanks anyway. Okay. The DTV, the direct to voicemail, is going to be something similar. Hey, this is Beatty. I know this is crazy, but I just sold a home down the street, and I've still got some eager buyers. They've been trying to find a home, and I'm trying to find a home for them. Is there any condition in which you'd consider selling your home? If there is, would you give me a call, please? My number is, and I'm going to give my phone number. Okay. So now they're getting my postcards. They're getting my emails. They're seeing me on Facebook, both with the community page and on their Facebook news feed. And every now and then they're getting an email from me, a video email from me, and now they're getting this voicemail. Okay, do you see how this is going? Here's what's happening. In their mind, they're going, Beatty is really aggressive at selling homes. Beatty is out there more than anyone else I've ever seen. And it's building up this trust level in them that if I'm going to sell my home, I want to use Beatty. Do you see kind of what's going on? That's why these multiple touches are so powerful and so important. So that's your multi-channel touches. They're all automated, okay? You do a short text message, you push a button, boom, it's gone. And then 3 months later, you repeat it, okay? You kind of stagger a text and a voicemail, okay? And then every now and then, there's an email message that goes out. So that's kind of what's going on with the multi-channel touches. Now, the fifth thing is what we call stealth tracker URLs. This is probably the most powerful thing you can do to start picking up listings immediately. Okay, all these other things, you're building pressure within that homeowner base to do business with you. Okay, but they're all pretty much, you're relying on them to respond back to you. What stealth tracker URLs do is this allows you to get early warning notice, is the best way, of who's thinking about selling long before they even go out and reach out to a seller, reach out to an agent. Okay, so let me give you a little background on a marketing concept for this to make sense. The marketing concept is called the educational spectrum. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that the average person spent probably 2 to 3 months from the time they start thinking about selling to the time they actually put their home on the market. What happens within those 2 or 3 months? Do you know? They start to think a lot about selling. They start to ask questions. What do I need to fix up around my house? Then they start to look at their house from the outside and say, what do I landscape around the house? They look at their furniture. They start looking at other homes, trying to figure out what is my home worth. In other words, they start to educate themselves on all the things they need to be doing. Then they start to do those things that they've educated themselves. And then when they get over here, that's when they pick up the phone and call an agent. And this is why, if you're like most realtors, when you get a phone call, hey, John, I'm thinking about selling. Can you come talk to me? But from the time you get the phone call to the time you have a listing agreement signed is usually a matter of 2 or 3 days or a week at the most. It's not that they just started thinking about selling. They've been thinking about selling all the way over here. But they just got to this point to where the next step is, let me call an agent. What would it be worth to you if you knew who was thinking about selling long before they picked up the phone? Because if you know who they are, then you can interject yourself in the middle of that and win the relationship before they end up calling someone else. That's what the stealth tracker URLs do. So the way they work is we offer some information that a seller would be interested in knowing, but a non-seller would not. So for example, maybe it's if you're thinking about selling, I can get you more money in less time because of the buyers I have, okay? Or maybe if you're thinking about selling, I may be able to sell your home immediately because of special buyers. Or if you're thinking about selling, find out what your home is worth. Or if you're thinking about selling, you can just fill in the blanks, okay? It's an offer of information that if you're thinking about selling, here's something you might be interested in knowing. So here's what's happening, okay? So I'm going through my mail, right? Everything's facing me as I'm going through, and I go trash, and then it says, if you're thinking about selling, here's something to do. And now I'm thinking about selling. Remember, if I'm mailing this 3 times a month, every 3 weeks, then in that period of those 2 or 3 months, this postcard is going to be in front of them probably 3 or 4 or 5 times, always asking, if you're thinking about selling, here's some information. And then down here at the bottom, what it's saying is, it fills me in on some information. I've got buyers who are looking, they haven't found a home yet. They're willing to pay sometimes top dollar and buy it immediately. I may be able to get your home sold immediately. Visit my website to see exactly what they're looking for. Okay, that might be how it comes across. So now think about this. If I'm thinking about selling and I get that information, that offer, do you think I'm interested in knowing what your buyers are looking for to see if my home's a match? Because if it is, it may save me a lot of effort in fixing it up, figuring out all these other things, because it may just simplify my life, right? So that's what I'm looking to do, okay? And so now when they go to that website, what our stealth tracker URLs do is they identify the specific address that it responded from. The way it works is some really high-end technology that we created, but suffice it to say is if you're mailing out 500 postcards to 500 homeowners and 5 of them respond, we tell you specifically which of those 5 respond. And if they respond to an offer that says, if you're thinking about selling, then you can pretty much bet that there's something in the back of their mind focused on selling. And then you can use the special self-tracker technology not only on postcards, but you can import it into your CRM and use it on every email that goes out, on your drip email campaigns, on your email blast, on your text blast, and all kinds of other things. So now when you're sending out these multi-touches and you're sending out the postcards, they're all able to identify sellers before they come on the market, so you can then reach out to them first, okay? That's really powerful because of those people who may pick up the phone and call you, like my friend Nelson, it may have taken 18 months to get 1 out of 5. But if you could identify those people without them having to think about picking up the phone and calling you, you will always pick up the phone and call them. Okay, so it really puts the control back in your hand, and it's a real powerful way. The last of the 6 ways I want to talk about is what I call auto dialing homeowners. I know no one wants to get on the phone and make a bunch of prospecting phone calls, but it's real effective. And if you use an auto dialer, then you can just run through a list of numbers really fast. And you use an excuse of, hey, I just recently sold this home. I still got buyers. I know this is crazy, but I mean, they're really eager to buy in, Chadwick Place community. And do you know of any homeowners around there who are thinking about selling? Because I'm really trying to find a house for them. Okay. And the homeowner said that you're talking to says, no, really don't. They said, well, is there any condition in which you'd consider selling your house? Which is a natural question to ask. See, all we're doing is we're probing. We're looking for that low-hanging fruit that says, okay, I'm thinking about selling or I'm not, okay? And then once you finish talking, you'll probably have some casual conversation and just talk and build a relationship conversation as well. Always follow up with a handwritten note. Take a note card, okay? Get some note cards printed out in a little note card envelope. You know how like a little thank you note. Printed with your real estate brokerage brand and all that stuff. But follow up with a handwritten note. Hey, John, really enjoyed talking with you. Thanks for a few minutes of your time. By the way, I'm excited about Susie's graduation. Tell her congrats for me. Beatty Carmichael. And then I'm going to drop that in the mail. So now, a couple of days later, he's going to get that postcard from me, that handwritten note, thank you note from me, and he's going to go, I really like this guy. I see him on these videos. He looks personable. I get his postcards. He looks professional. He's making lots of sales, okay? I like his emails. I love talking with them. I get this handwritten note. Do you see how I'm building this amazing nurturing program that it makes it almost impossible for me to not get those listings when they come on the market? So that's how that works. So real quickly, I've got some additional things I want to talk about, but I want to see if there are any questions. So what I want to do is I want to stop sharing my screen so I can do the chat. If there are any questions so far, I've got 3 bonus items I want to talk to if time allows, but I want to cover questions first. So if there are any questions, if you'll put your questions in the chat, and then I will cover those. And if not, we will move on to the bonus items. All right, and I think as questions may come in, if they do, then they'll pop up as I do this. So let me go back to sharing my screen. And let me cover a few more bonus items here, okay? So this is really cool. The bonus items, okay? So the bonus items are taking those top 6 things and saying, let's really supercharge this even more, okay? So these are all pulled from clients of ours that have done amazing, multiple 6-figure earnings in a year from doing these bonus items in their farms, okay? So the first thing is a homeowner business networking group. So let me give you the background first, okay? So this comes from a lady named Marla, single mom, just moved into a community, and she just wanted to get to know people, right? She wasn't trying to sell homes, but by doing this, she became the #1 selling agent in a 500 home community in her first 12 months, okay? Just raking in the dough and raking in the listings. And she, I think, after 2 years, she's selling like, I think the number was 46% of all of the listings in that entire community. And it's really brilliant. So what she did is she said, I want to meet my neighbors. But I know if I'm going to invite neighbors over to my home, no one's going to come over because we're all strangers. And what do? Just kind of sit around, you drink a little bit, and everyone's strangers, no one's talking. So how do you do it, right? So what she did is she said, I got an idea. I'm going to make this networking group for people with home-based businesses. So she promoted into the community, if you have a home-based business, come over to my house on this Tuesday night. We're going to have a show and tell where you get a chance to show off your product and talk to people about your product or your services. And we're just going to do a little networking group among our community. So she had 20 people show up that first night, okay? And she hired some starving guitar player. She bought some wine and cheese and crackers. And so now everyone came with a purpose. They came to network, to sell their products, and to network with other people that they could network through to sell their products and services. Do you see where this is going? Well, that first night, one of them knew of someone who's thinking about selling their home in that community. So Marla called that person. She got a listing. She started holding this networking group every single month, and people loved it. And it started to grow and started to grow. And what happened is all of these home-based business owners, they have their ear to the ground looking for people that they can refer to one of the folks in their referral group, because they know that those people have their ear to the ground looking to people that they can refer back. And so now Marla has 20, 25, 30 different people who are always listening out for someone thinking about selling, because Marla is listening out for someone thinking about buying a water filter, buying cosmetics, buying whatever it is that their services are. And Marla makes sure that anytime she wants one of those products, she buys it from her referral group. And if she hears anyone that is thinking about that, she always promotes to that person in referral group, and also probably cross promotes that person back to the prospect. Okay, very active, very, very powerful. And when I got to tell you the story. So a friend of mine, a client, introduced me to Marla. Marla didn't think anything about this. I'm saying, Marla, you are brilliant. Okay, this is a brilliant idea, and it's so easy to do. So it grew out of her home, and then they meet at a local establishment somewhere else. So if you're targeting an area that you don't live in, if you can find someone in that area that you can hold the event in, then that makes it more local to that Otherwise, find a local restaurant or someplace that y'all can do that. Okay, so bonus item number 2, build and promote a neighborhood-specific website with home sales stats. Okay, so this is your I'm farming Chadwick Place community. It's 1,000 home community. Okay, I want to build a website that gives people a reason to go there. And this is thinking outside of the box because most agents say you build a website to promote the sales that are there because if we want people going there to look for Chadwick community sales. No, that's okay if you're looking for buyers. But if you're looking for sellers, that website's got to do something else because think about this. I live in Chadwick Place, let's call it, and I'm thinking about selling my home. Do I really want to go to a website that shows other homes for sale in Chadwick Place? No. What am I interested in as a homeowner? If you want to build traffic to that website, you got to make it valuable to all the homeowners who have no interest in buying a home in Chadwick Place. So one thing that I would put in there is going to be home sales stats. Now, why does that matter to me if I'm not thinking about selling? I'm curious. There are 25 homes sold in this community, or maybe there are 75 homes sold. And what's the sales stats this year over this time last year? Are prices going up? And what price points are selling? So just give me a little bullet point of little sales stats that are interesting curiosity feeders. And then what other things going on? What are things in the community that are happening? When's HOA fees due? And what's the HOA doing for the the water problem down at the intersection? Make it a local place of news, okay? That gives people a reason to go back there, but specifically information that will encourage those people that are thinking about selling that they ought to pick you. Include what I call success stories, okay? Take pictures of sales that you've made and post it about there. Have a picture. I wish I had a photo of this, but I don't. But imagine that this is a picture of a family that you just sold a home to. Let them hold a sign that says, just sold, all right, and stand in front of the house. And so you create this wall of success stories. So now every time I go to your website, I see all these success stories, and it just creates a confidence. And then maybe talk about what I call rescue sales. Okay, a rescue sale, I might call it Chadwick Place rescue sales. And I'll list the homes that I sold that were expired sales. This home had been on the market for 256 days with 3 different agents that couldn't sell it. How did I sell it in 3 weeks for more than had been asked for, than the listing price originally? Okay, and then based on that, I'm going to start to list out what's going on. Maybe do a little PowerPoint video that I'm going to talk about it. And what I'm going to do, basically, I'm showing off my skill of being able to take expired sales and show how I've taken them and rescued them. Okay, and that's really powerful. And then maybe a third bonus item. First, before I do that, so when you got the website, you want to then promote it in all of your marketing pieces. Go to chadwickplaceonline.com to find out what's happening with the HOA, find out community news, find out what's going on within the real estate market, find out anything, okay? And so you're always going to promote it so that people know to go there, all right? And then the final bonus item is this is really powerfully able to be done in those areas that allow you to. So I know that some states don't allow this, and it may even be some cities. But I got to tell you a story over in Austin, one of our clients, they do allow, and that is to call up the homeowner as an agent and say, I'd like to preview your home. Not with a buyer, I just want to come by and see your home. And they'll ask you, why do you want to see my home if you don't have a buyer? Well, because I specialize in Chadwick Place, and I make it my priority to know every home that's on the market, how it's laid out, how it's fixed up, the condition, what it is, the sales price, because I'm constantly working with buyers, and this is how I'm able to make sure I match the right buyer with the right home. You know what the homeowner's going to go? They're going to go, wow, I'm impressed already. So you walk through the home and you look at it, and it gives you a chance also, the key is you want to do this, if possible, with a homeowner present. They'll let you in the home, you walk through the home, and then You can even tell them some things that you would do. Hey, here's some things I would probably suggest. You see this burned out light over there? That really gives a bad impression. You'd want to replace it. See how dim this room is over here? If you can, I'd replace it with the highest wattage light bulbs to make it really bright, because when people look at home, they want to see bright and vivid, not dark and closed off. And then even when you leave, you might take those little thank you notes I was talking about and write a little note of, hey, thanks for letting me see your home. It's a beautiful home. Here's a couple of suggestions I would make that I think would improve your ability to sell it. And then you leave it. It's all about driving value back to that homeowner. Do you think that homeowner is impressed with you? Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with that homeowner if the home expires? You're going to be the first one to get the phone call. I have a client targeting a 1,000-home community. His first 12 months, that's what he did. He went through and he previewed the homes. Get this. He was the #1 selling agent in his first 12 months. I think he outsold the #2 agent by double. In his first 7 months, he had 14 listing appointments. And the majority of those listing appointments were expireds that he had previewed the home. That homeowner was so impressed with him that they called him up, okay? And they all chose him, okay? So it's really powerful if your community allows you to contact the homeowner directly to do a preview to just kind of see what the home is up, okay? So, so the focus is you're previewing it to know what's on the market to help your buyers. The side benefit is they get to meet you, build trust in you, and then you've got the leg up if they ever expire. So that are 6 ways on how to get listings, the top 6 ways to get listings in a seller's market, in a geographic farm, in any list that you're targeting, and 3 bonus items. Well, I hope this has been really helpful. Hope you guys have been blessed by this, that you're taking a lot of notes and you're able to go back and implement on this, because this will drive in sales to you. And thanks again for allowing me to share with you. And I hope and pray that you have a very blessed day. Thanks for watching. See you next time. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please do 2 things. Number 1, please share this on social media so other people can enjoy it. And number 2, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to either our YouTube channel or our podcast audio channel that you'll find on any audio player with your mobile phone. And then that way you won't miss another episode. Also, if you want help generating listings, please visit our website at agentdominator.com, where we guarantee them or give your money back. Thanks again for listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast, and have a very blessed day.